There's a saying, one of my favourite sayings, if you get to know me a bit, you'll know I like sayings. One of my favourite sayings is, when you're proud of your hammer, everything looks like a nail. So if you're proud of your ability to analyse things, everything looks like a problem that needs to be analysed. You know, if you have a problem in your relationship, you go off and you do a 16 PF personality test, and you look at the other person's profile, and you compare them, and you go and learn some things that you should say and things you shouldn't say. Whereas if you're not someone who just uses their left brain and you've got a problem in your relationship, you think, perhaps I should be a bit more caring, perhaps I should be a bit more considerate, perhaps I should be a bit more generous. All things of the heart. And of course the heart is the thing that the left brain calls the right brain, because the left brain doesn't really want to acknowledge that the heart exists. It's it's all about the brain, and so the left brain and the right brain. So what I began to see was that there was this part of myself that I didn't really know, that I couldn't really access using all of the skills and tools that I normally went for, because that's how I'd succeeded in the past, that's how I'd got on in my career, that's how I'd got on in my education, that's the thing that people had told me, Geoff, that's who you are, you're clever, and that was the thing I'd built my sense of identity around. And actually, when it comes to getting to know this real you, actually having a good education is a real inhibitor. No? I had a good education. It's taken me years to get over it. It really is, because it biases us to see things in a certain way, and if we see them in a certain way that reinforces our sense of who we are, it's very difficult to see them in a different way. Somebody else might come along who sees it completely differently, try and convince us, but we just cannot see what the hell are they going on about. No? It's a bit like, I use an analogy that when a vet looks at a pig, the pig looks like a patient. When the pig farmer looks at the same pig, the pig looks like money. When the butcher looks at the same pig, it looks like pork chops and bacon and whatever. You know, the leather worker looks at the pig, it looks like a skin that you could make boots and handbags and stuff out of. Now, it's the same pig. But the reason it looks like a different pig to each of those people is because we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. And I can have then that understanding that there is a spiritual core to myself, that is an actor, like Shakespeare said in As You Like It, all the world's a stage and men and women are players, we have our exits and our entrances. That there is an actor that is the real me, that is behind all of the different masks of all of the different roles that I play. I can understand that as an intellectual concept, but the question is, how does the world present itself to me moment by moment? Because that is the acid test of who is the me that has shown up. No? If I show up here right now, sitting on a little platform here in front of 50, 60, 100 people, I can have the consciousness that I am a representative of the Brahma Kumaris, of the Peace in the Park team. I was wearing my green t-shirt yesterday, and that you're all people who've come along here who I need to convince of something, or I might have something to share with you that might be of benefit to you, because I'm clearly so much more spiritually advanced than all you plebs who've come along. I mean, I could be in any sort of consciousness, couldn't I? But actually, the effort for me is to not drift into anything but I, the spiritual being, looking out at an audience full of spiritual beings, the same as me, actors just like me. If you want to say it, children of God, all from the same source, all of the same family. But we have different parts, and we have different costumes, and we have different roles, and one time you're playing the role of the person sitting up here in front of the microphone, another time you're a person sitting in the audience, another time you're the person doing the washing up. A quote I came across the other day which I'd not seen before was, some days you're the pigeon, and some days you're the statue. So we all play these different roles. The thing is, the more I learn about, and this is a learning by doing, not a learning by thinking, the more I learn about who I really am at the core of my experiences, who is the actor that is playing the different roles, who is the one who is observing what is going on inside the self, which is something that mystics have been fascinated by for generations, for centuries, that actually you can be aware that there are two yous. There's the you that is thinking and feeling and experiencing, and then there's the you that is aware that you are doing all those things. There's the you that is observing all of that going on. And the core self is the one that is doing the observing, the one that is the uninfluenced, uncoloured, that just sees the pig in its entirety, not as their consciousness, that sees beyond the limitations of any particular role. So that is the real you, and getting to that real you, as I say, is not an exercise where you can go and do a PhD in it and then apply it. It's literally like a child learning to walk. You know, children, when they learn to walk, they don't wait until they're 20 and they've done a PhD in leg geometry, you know, knee structure, muscle formation and tendons. What they do is they get up and they fall over. And actually learning to walk is actually the process of learning not to fall over. Right? Meditation, which as we teach it here, is that process by which you focus in on and get to know that real self and experience the real self behind the masks, behind the roles. That itself is a process that you learn by failing to meditate. No? My wife's very right brain, no? Very heart operated, and she that very first session on August the 20th 1990, when we first came along together, she came along to make sure I wasn't getting caught up in something that we would regret, you know, spaceship waiting for you, sign over your worldly possessions and all will be fine. And she had amazing experiences in meditation, and I had zip. I mean, it took me 17 and a half years to get to any real deep experiences in meditation, right? I was getting a lot of benefit in other ways in terms of applying the understanding, but it took me that long really to get to the point where I was having any real deep experiences. And most of the journey is about observing ourselves not being able to walk. It's observing ourselves falling over and not beating ourselves up when we're not very good at it. And that's something that if you're a successful person, if you've done well in your life, if you've done well in your career, if you're clever and people have praised you for being clever, it's something that feels very, very scary. But it's very, very easy. In fact, it's so easy, it's so simple, it's too simple. No, it's not at all complicated. It's something that we just need to do a little practice now and then, each day, like building up a muscle. You know, don't go and do 20 hours in the gym and then not go for 6 months. You can see I go to the gym quite a lot. It's about every day, a few times a day, a little bit of attention to build up that muscle so that you are able to stay more consistently in that place of being the one playing the role rather than getting caught up in the externalities of the role, which is where all the conflict comes from, or the conflict, or the difficulty, and particularly the battle with the mind. So we've kind of come to the end of our 20-minute slot, but what we do have is, you'll have seen under the trees, there's a big round table, and the idea is that if any of you want to carry on a little conversation, ask some questions about the topic, then we can do that for 10, 15, 20 minutes or so in the cool and the shade under the natural umbrella of the trees in Tree Hall just behind there. So that's where I should be going, and you're more than welcome to come along if you so wish. Thank you.